The way I see it is like ayahuasca is the doorway to your soul, to your inner world, and IFS gives you a map to navigate it and to anchor it everything back into this reality that you're in.
Welcome back to the Power and Purpose podcast. I'm Vanessa Soul, your host. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for investing your time and your energy into tuning into today's episode. I greatly appreciate it. And I'm super excited for today's guest. We have Blanca. She's a therapist, healer, and retreat leader. Blanca combines internal family systems, IFS therapy, with the wisdom of ayahuasca, guiding seekers and leaders into deep healing, clarity, and alignment with their souls and their gifts. So, Blanca, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, absolutely. And I am also an IFS practitioner, and I've been doing it for a while. And we've had so many great episodes on this podcast with IFS therapy. So I'm super excited. And I love that you're like, you have a blend, right? Ayahuasca and IFS. So super excited for today's conversation. And I would love asking my signature question: who are you and who are you not?
I love these questions and I get goosebumps just like feeling into the answer. Who am I? I guess I don't know. As many people in this path probably already know, like who we are unfolds with each question that we ask ourselves, which each ceremony that we step into, which each path, the step of this journey. So right now, I can say I'm someone that has gone through a lot. I'm a seeker. I feel what brought me where I'm at today is a lot of curiosity. I never thought I had any trauma. I thought I had a normal upbringing, and through this curiosity, a lot of things started unfolding for me, and acknowledging like the depths of what I've gone through. And this seeking, this curiosity had led me to a spiritual awakening. I feel greatly connected to spirit and my guides, and I feel that everything that I offer is coming through that, no, through deeply connecting to the purpose. And I know that this keeps unfolding every step of the way. So I don't know yet where I'm going, but at least I know where I'm coming from.
Yes, and I love that receptivity. Some of us have a lot of challenge with that type of acceptance and receptivity with the unknown. And I think that's very beautiful. So I love to talk about like who we've been before the current version of us. And yes, being present is so important. And yes, just being who we are today without defining ourselves from the past is so important. That's what that question is all about. But just to give our listeners a glimpse of a little bit of the transformation that you've gone through in order to be who you are today. What did that look like? I know you mentioned a little bit of like a victim mentality, or, just maybe some of that energy. Can you tell us more about that? Who were you, or what were you going through? Put it that way. What were you going through before your transformation really started to take off?
Yeah, I guess like from the outside, everything looked fine. Like I had a successful career. I did architecture. I was working as a sustainable design consultant for architects and engineers. I went to Harvard. I got married, like everything was fine. And then this curiosity started exploring with the medicine. I realized that I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of pressure of how my life should look like. And I was stuck. Like this victim mentality would show up as stories of like, no, I cannot do that. That's not, like I'm not enough for this, or that's not meant for me. Like, yes, everything is perfect. You can achieve anything, but that's not my story. No, it's not, yeah, that's not possible for me. No. And still, like, I would push myself. I used to compete a lot in fitness. I used to compete in dancing. So it's like a lot of goals to succeed, But then on the inside, like there was a lot of insecurities, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of like, no, I'm not meant to succeed or shine in a way.
Where did that victim mentality come from? Was it outside conditioning? Was it a core wound that from childhood? What was it?
Quite a tough upbringing. My dad had a lot of narcissistic tendencies. So there was a lot of emotional neglect, emotional abuse, always made me think like, you got an A minus, why not an A plus? Like nothing was enough. I used to get locked. My dad used to lock me in the bathroom when I was between the ages 3 to 5, and he would turn off the lights whenever I would have a tantrum. So there was a lot of suppression around certain emotions, like it's not okay to be who I am, basically.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And what was it like integrating those experiences and healing from them? I kind of use the same, like for healing, I use the word integration a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you prefer healing or integration, but what was it like processing that and integrating that?
I like the word integrating, right? In IFS terms, is like a part of us gets shoved in the background into a basement, and how do we integrate it back into our system? Um, I feel like IFS was a huge tool, like this tool where we can be fully present with it, but we're not necessarily fully merged with it. I remember my first ceremonies would be super overwhelming. Like I didn't know what was going on, I couldn't handle it. And a few months afterwards, not being able to integrate that first ceremony, I bumped into IFS. And through that, I finally was able to be like, okay, I can hold this pain, right? It doesn't need to like fully flood me. And it was hard, like it got to a point where parts of me thought that I was never going to be able to heal from it because I kept coming back to that bathroom. I kept coming back to that shaming, to that like aggressive energy from my father. Like it was so stored. And eventually I learned is like going deeper and deeper into layers, as we expand our capacity to feel more, we just are able to hold more of those experiences. And I remember this moment of like, okay, Blanca, it's okay if this never gets healed. It's okay, and just melting into that. And in that, the beauty of it just shifting and actually happening, And I remember that last moment that I went into the bathroom. It was after one of the ceremonies. I did a dieta almost 2 years ago. And I was in the bathroom with by myself, like fully like shaking, shivering, purging. It was awful. And after that, I was like, okay, like, it doesn't need to define me, but maybe this wound is always going to be here. And since then, like, I've never gone back. Like, I've held that part of me, but it's never been like fully into the bathroom with those intense emotions and experiences.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. And I'm getting visuals. So I feel like I'm in it with you and just sharing so much compassion. And if you are listening right now and you're not really sure what we're talking about, some of the terminology, we're going to get to like the definition. So stick with us throughout this conversation. We'll get to some of the formal, what is IFS? What does it involve? All of that. I'm going to start using some terminology that you may not understand. But I love this part because we're getting to know Blanca's experience. And I'm just super curious. Um, what parts of you were initially involved? Like, were you able to go to like the exiled part of you? Was it straight protector parts that were like showing up like, nope, you can't go there? Like, what was it for you, do you think, in the beginning?
I feel like when I started being immersed in IFS, I used to sit by myself and go through the process a lot, and things would just like unfold naturally. And then when I started being guided by someone else, it was like a whole other level. But I feel there was this like my system was kind of like testing me, can you hold this? Can you hold this? So there was a period where I was able to go to exiles, but from maybe an older age and not that intensity. And then when things started getting serious, um, it's like noticing, for example, with the experience that I shared of the bathroom, we see anger as a protector, as a firefighter. In my case, because I was locked in the bathroom because of this anger, my system had exiled the anger. So it was something that I couldn't access unless I had like an anger outburst, and then I would feel very guilty and shame around that. But I had like numbing, suppressing, avoidance, distracting, like all of this like huge protectors. I had this calming sense of like everything's okay, like I don't get angry. I didn't get angry in years. Um, so when we started getting to the serious stuff, yeah, there was a lot of resistance. So I learned to work a lot with very extreme protective mechanisms.
And why is internal family systems, IFS therapy, why is it helpful for you, myself, and other people when we're integrating those intense experiences from childhood? What is it about the different parts? And this is, if you want to define what it is too, feel free, or you could just kind of flow with that question as well.
I feel like for me personally, having separating not only myself from the emotions, right? But separating the emotions from each other and seeing the relationship that each emotion and thought and aspects of ourselves have with each other, right? So it's like, yes, I separate myself from the anger, and that helps me be with it, not necessarily be overflooded by it. And I can be there with that emotion like she needed someone to be there with her back then. So it's a lot of like, um, it feels like a relational healing type of thing, but everything is happening inside of you. So it's also building a lot of self-trust, self-compassion, self-love, and acceptance. And at the same time, if I start seeing why my numbing, suppression, avoidance, my critic, they hate the anger and they don't accept the anger, you start seeing the inner dynamics that are playing those roles. Like, where are you judging yourself? Where are you suppressing your own emotions? And you can start working with them also from the understanding that there's really good reasons for them to be there, right? Like this example of the bathroom is very extreme, but it it gives a beautiful example, right? It makes so much sense that my system would believe that getting angry was so dangerous and so like not a possibility at all, right? And you start bringing acceptance and compassion to that, bringing inner safety so that eventually you can be with the anger. So for me, is these two things. One, being with the emotions, and then seeing the relationships that the different parts of me have in my inner world.
Yes, beautifully said. I love, there's a million ways to describe internal family systems. And for some people, they're like, what? It's so complicated. But you said it so beautifully, and I'll just kind of riff off of that, and then I'll pass you the mic to see if you have anything else you want to add. Richard Schwartz, I always say his last name a little off, but he believes that, we can become self-led when we integrate the fragments of our personalities, integrate the fragments of our parts of ourselves. Like, many of us were compartmentalized, but when we bring consciousness to those different compartments and have them partner together, work together, talk together, negotiate sometimes, understand each other. That's a big part. Understanding, having compassion for the different parts of you. And they are like different parts within us. And some people are like, is that multiple personalities disorder? No. Everyone has different parts, even if they don't have any trauma, even if they've integrated their trauma. And parts are not a product of trauma. It's, I think, I mean, my own perspective has kind of grown from the traditional IFS therapy theory at this point, but I think it's just a part of our nature. We're multifaceted. We're here in this 3D world. We have these different parts that come out at different times, and many of these parts have a resource, a gift for us to use and to access. Oftentimes you have to unburden the parts in order to really use that gift in a way that, you know, that your soul wants to use for your growth and your expansion. So just to kind of lay out and define, yeah, IFS is working with the different parts of your internal world. Personalities, yes, you can use that if you feel comfortable using that term, but it allows us to find harmony and peace within and unburden the parts of us that are really struggling or finding challenge or suppressing certain emotions. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I love that. You know, the way I like to explain it as well is like the self is our soul, is our essence, right? And when we're connected to that, we're connected to the oneness, we're connected to spirit, like everything is fine. There's full trust that we are held and that whatever's unfolding is what needs to be unfolded, right? And our parts, I see them more as our humanity, right? Like being in this human vessel, like you're going to have anger, you're going to have sadness, you're going to have a lot of different like anxiety, nervous, worries, concerns, and some of it can be part of our upbringing. Some of it is just intrinsic to our nervous system, right? So seeing it as our humanity, and how I love this analogy of like self being the conductor of an orchestra, right? And because it's our humanity and we're in this 3D world, we're here to be humans. No, there's a reason why we're here. So the self cannot make music without the musicians, right? The conductor of the orchestra needs all the musicians, and it's the one that's going to be guiding the different musicians so that the music plays in a specific way. Like you say, you're using the gift of each musician, of each part in a specific moment of your day-to-day or your life, right? To eventually work all as a team in this experience that we're having.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. You have a very fluid way of describing things. Has anyone ever told you that before?
Uh,
Not really.
Not really. I've been told like it makes sense when I explain it, you know. I don't know if it's like
It feels
the
like an
way.
ocean. It feels
Mm,
like a fluid ocean of like just waves of information. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm getting caught in the weeds, but thank you for that
thank
beautiful
you.
explanation. Yeah. And your energy is so beautiful too. I think I wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's talk more about merging IFS therapy with ayahuasca on a very basic level. What does that look like?
Yeah, the way I see it is like ayahuasca is such a powerful spirit. It's such a powerful medicine that kind of like opens the doorway to your soul, right? And that means it's going to connect you with both what we were saying, your humanity and your spirit, right? And it can be a little bit like it it can be a little bit disorienting, right? When you're in the experience, you're navigating it, it can be harder or more less or more beautiful, whatever your experience is. But then what's hard is like, how do I bring this experience into my day to day? How do I translate that into this world, into what it means to me, right? So the way I see it is like ayahuasca is the doorway to your soul, to your inner world, and IFS gives you a map to navigate it and to anchor it everything back into this reality that you're in.
And so what does it look like? Is it someone being guided by a facilitator and they're doing ayahuasca at the same time, or is it ayahuasca before a IFS session, after? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. For me, it's very important to combine the knowledge of all the wisdom keepers, like how they've been serving the medicine, and give IFS as a tool to people. So the way I work is I have like a set of preparation exercises. It can be through one-on-one sessions, right? So you use IFS to prepare, especially with the medicine of ayahuasca, which is a medicine that already starts working with you when you decide to sit with her, right? It's not, the ceremony starts the moment you say yes. So you start using IFS to navigate what's coming up, to navigate the parts of you that are nervous, the part of you that are excited and are ready to bombard your inner world, right? And you start to use IFS to see what are the needs of your system as a whole, right? So we start tailoring the intention and we start navigating that space already with a medicine in the field. So when you go into ceremony, you will most likely know what's already going to show up. So you're more prepared. You have already built a relationship with these parts of you, with these emotions, with the stories that have been coming up. So when you're in ceremony, it's not a surprise. You've already worked through a lot of the resistance, through a lot of the parts of you that want to push, right? Because I feel that this polarity is very common and it can be equally stopping the medicine from doing what it needs to do, right? And then when you go into a ceremony, we just let the medicine work. And we're in a traditional, the way I work is with Shipibo Conibo tradition from Peru. So you're just in a traditional ceremony, receiving the Icaros, receiving the chants, receiving the medicine. And then when you come back for integration is the same, right? How do you use IFS to put all the puzzle pieces together and to continue the work that the medicine has started?
Hmm. So powerful. And you've said some of the benefits of combining these two wisdom practices together. I was going to say ancient, but I don't think IFS is not ancient, or maybe it is. I don't know. And Richard Schultz just brought it back from ancient times. We'll never, maybe anything is possible. But you already said some of the benefits. But if you can lay out like 3 to 5 benefits in order, or maybe not in order, but just kind of 3 to 5, what would be those benefits of doing this together?
Definitely, you would go into the experience feeling more prepared and more empowered. I believe that IFS is a very self-empowering tool. Um, and that will intrinsically allow you to receive the medicine, to go deeper, right? So as you feel more ready, more safe, more empowered, you're going to go deeper into your experience. You're going to reach depths that you would not reach because there would be more levels of layers of fear, of resistance, of hesitance. And
Let me just
then,
recap that. So number one, going deeper into your experience with the medicine.
mhm. And then what a lot of people experience after an ayahuasca ceremony is like, oh, this beautiful thing that lasts for a few weeks and then it's gone, right? So another one would be to bring all the gifts, anchor all the gifts into your day to day. So you're going to go deeper. And by anchoring all these gifts, you're going to make a longer, like you basically do like a full transformation, like a long lasting transformation. Is not just an experience that you go through.
Beautiful. So number two, longevity in your transformation, like really making it last. I feel like it's deeper reprogramming. Like number one is like going deeper into the medicine. Number two, we could phrase it exactly how Blanca said it, and also deeper reprogramming. So that way those new neural pathways are almost like more reinforced as opposed to just kind of doing ayahuasca without an intention and kind of getting lost in medicine, which happens to the best of us sometimes. And we're like, we come out and we're like, that was great. I had all these visions. And then the next week we're like, I don't know what's going on. Did anything amazing happen? I thought so, but I'm still in the same pattern. So, okay. So number 3.
Number 3, I would say it's like the pace of it, right? You can go, I mean, in IFS, we say we go at the pace of the slowest part. You know, there's a limit that your nervous system has, but by building all this safety inside of you and this trust, then the pace in which you're reprogramming yourself, it's so much faster. You know, I have people that come to my retreats and they're like, oh my God, I haven't gone this far in 10 years of therapy, you know, and you've gotten here in just a week. Obviously, there's a lot to integrate, but the pace of the healing, right? And that for me, what I see over and over again is that it connects people more to their essence and to their purpose.
Yes, beautifully said. And it's almost like 1 plus 2, right? Going deeper into your medicine experience plus 2, going deeper into your reprogramming equals 3. More accelerated. I like to say accelerated self-awareness, but you're saying just more acceleration, like getting through more in less time, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, number 4, if there is a 4 and 5, or we can keep it at 3.
I guess like the rest, I see it's a byproduct of, right? Like
Yeah.
I see a lot of people suddenly being like, I want to be of service, you know, or uncovering their innate gifts, whether they're psychic gifts or whether they're abilities or more sensitivities, right? So it's all a byproduct of having this safety and this, you know, the 1 plus 2 equals 3, and then the very product is like being of service, finding a purpose, finding your unique gifts and abilities.
Yeah. This is so interesting. And um you know, there are some people, I'm not saying this out of judgment, I'm saying this out of awareness because I happen to know some of these people. Some of them are really good friends of mine, family, or clients. So I don't say this with judgment. It's just, it's something that happens. So sometimes there are people who do ayahuasca very consistently, right? I'm not going to say it's too much because I don't know what too much would be for them, but you know, they might do it over and over and over and over again. Do you feel like something like this would help with those groups of people? And if so, why? From a general level, we obviously don't know what they're working through, but
Yeah, this is a really good question. You know, I see this a lot in the medicine world, and I would say yes. There's a huge difference. Like there's people in my community that have gone to over 100 ceremonies, and they're still struggling with a lot of things, no? So I feel like sometimes it's that piece that I'm talking about, you know, the medicine gives you a release or a relief for a certain period of time. But if you don't do the integration piece of it, then the way I see it with IFS is like, okay, parts feel seen, they feel heard, they feel acknowledged during the ceremony. So there's like a sense of calmness. And yes, I do believe that the medicine works in very magical ways, and some things can click just from being in ceremony. But the big stuff, you really need to do the work to integrate. And I feel like this is the magic, you know. If you ask me, people think that I've been to a lot of ceremonies, and I've been to under 30 in the lifespan of like 6 7 years. If you see people in my community, again, they've gone to over 100, you know. And I do feel there's a huge impact in integrating versus not, and just going to the ceremony to find the relief, no, or the answers that then you cannot apply to your day-to-day life.
So you've done 30 personally, like you took the medicine, or you were just present at around 30-ish ceremonies?
I was present, so that's combining the ones that I've sat to for myself to receive,
Okay.
and that's combining the ones that I've sat to facilitate.
Beautiful. And just to share my personal experience, I didn't know, my listeners know, I have a whole bunch of episodes around my ayahuasca story. I didn't know what it was. I ended up at a retreat. I thought I was going to a yoga retreat. I'm just making this super quick, so I don't bore everyone, because I know I've said the story so many times. Didn't know what I was getting myself into. It was like my 30th birthday, right? Saturn return. I'm an astrologer, so that part's important to me. Um, but I agreed, like I was just so led to do it, that night, the same day that I arrived at the resort. And apparently it was a really well-known shaman. Like people flew in just for this specific shaman on that night. So I went through it. It's a little tough giving up control. I had a panic attack in the beginning. I got through it. But I ended up doing it for 7 days in a row. But that was the only ceremony that I've ever been to. And it took me 7 years to integrate that. It's like I did ceremony for 7 nights, and it took me 7 years to integrate it. Haven't been back since. She is calling me now. Ayahuasca is calling me again, because now it's been like 8 years. But I had so much to unpack. And so I guess I wanted to share this to anyone listening. If you don't worry about if you haven't done 30 or 100, we're not really promoting that. You could do 1 or 2 ceremonies, and that might be enough for you. You might have done it 7, 8 years ago, like myself. And so just listen to when you're called. But I do really love this idea of doing IFS therapy with ayahuasca. Um, do you have any examples, either for yourself or from others, of the type of transformation that this, like a specific example without giving away like personal details, but the type of transformation that might happen with this combination?
Yeah, there's one specific one that's coming to mind. And I feel it's good because it's very tangible, right? So there's this woman that she has come to 2 of my retreats, and I've worked one-on-one with her. And when she came to me, she wanted to explore her sexuality. And she was able to acknowledge that she was into women, right, at that point. So at the beginning, it started to shift into, oh, I only like women now. But then realizing that her wounding and her experience with men were blocking her connection to men. So fast forward, now she feels like fully free in what she chooses to engage with, right? There's no shame about being attracted to women or not, and she feels safe to connect to men as well. And in the in-between, she thought like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, putting herself into boxes. And then it's just like being fully herself.
That's so interesting. And like, what role do you think, just from your perspective, as an observer, what do you think was like the turning point in that with combining IFS and ayahuasca? Like, what did it allow to happen? In what way?
I feel it goes back to like bringing this, like IFS brings a lot of inner safety, right? And working through the judgments, working through the parts of you that shame you, that guilt you, right? And being able to hold them. And ayahuasca just takes you very deep. Ayahuasca normally, she shows you what what you would not want to see, no? And that's why some experiences are very hard. But she also shows you the beauty of what can happen when you let go of those judgments, of the pain that has been caused to you, right? So it's like this combination of bringing inner safety and being able to see what's possible on the other side before you're even there, right? It gives you like a sense of trust and courage of like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. Intuitively, I wonder if that is so that makes so much sense, by the way, but intuitively I wonder if also the protector parts, it's like when you're in ayahuasca, those protector parts can be there, and I'm sure there's work to be done there, or a relationship to be built with the protector parts, and reestablish the relationship. But also I feel intuitively, please give me your more accurate insight. Um, does ayahuasca kind of relax those protector parts or remove some of the resistance from those protector parts that would normally block some of the depth or the questioning or the realization that could typically happen?
I have seen both happening, in the sense that it can make these protector parts louder, and then you're fully immersed in them. You're fully immersed in the resistance, in the frustration, in the struggle, and that's when the ceremony can become very hard, when you're resisting. Um, and for me, that is how your system is setting the pace, right? Like, your medicine or not, your system really is setting the pace. Like, it's not okay to go there. So what also happens is that if you can breathe into it, then the ayahuasca will help you tune into your essence, into your soul, into what we call the self, right? And from that point, the protectors can relax and can take a step back.
Thank you for that. And I don't do IFS therapy sessions as much as I used to for clients. For a while, I was really diving deep into it with my work, and during that time, you know, the universe aligned me with a lot of people who were working through either severe nervous system dysregulation or addiction, which sometimes those overlap. Do you find that combining ayahuasca and IFS therapy can help someone specifically if they're working through severe nervous system dysregulation? Of course, they have to be regulated enough a little bit to do ayahuasca, because that is another substance, even though it's plant and it's intelligent. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like IFS brings a whole other layer of safety into drinking ayahuasca. Also, the way I work with the medicine is that I do not believe that more medicine is better, right? Sometimes you go to centers or ceremonies and you have to drink the whole cup, right? For me, it doesn't work that way because of what you said, right? There's people that are more sensitive. There's people that need to build a relationship with a medicine to feel fully safe. We don't want to blow out anyone's nervous system. So if you work from this perspective of bringing like trauma-informed facilitation with a therapy that's going to help you prepare and integrate, and you have this therapist also having a powerful relationship with the medicine and being ceremony with you, it can definitely help a lot. And knowing that everything will go at the pace of your nervous system, at your pace of your parts, it can be very, very powerful. And for the addiction piece, there's a lot of stories how, how people do ayahuasca and the addiction is gone. So it's very powerful. Now, sometimes there's trauma. It's trauma related, right? So everything that's trauma related, again, with trauma informed care and the therapies, the therapeutic support, and then the medicine, and having people in the ceremony that are familiar with that can be very, very powerful.
And so what is the protocol? Like, we know what it looks like. You mentioned that, you know, IFS is like a tool for preparation and kind of doing it beforehand. Would someone you know, if they work with you or someone else who does a similar thing as you, is it important for them to work with the same practitioner for the prep and the ceremony and the integration, or can they do prep with the IFS and then go off to some other ceremony? Like, how does that typically look like, or what does that look like for success?
Yeah, I'm open to guide people through the preparation and the integration session, and then they go to the ceremonies that they have more available. I would say this is a very personal choice, right? Even people that come to my retreats, they have their own therapist, and I just guide them. If the therapist is knowledgeable in the medicine and knows how to prepare and integrate, it can be a very powerful combination. If not, I tend to give them, you know, like guidance on how to do that. It's very personal, a very personal choice. If you're going to feel more safe, there's definitely an aspect of safety when people come to my retreats that we've spent a whole month together. They get to know the group, they get to know me, my other co-facilitators. We're going to be there in ceremony. I know your history, I know your stuff, and you feel more held and supported. Um, for other people, it might be completely a matter of logistics, you know? So it's a very personal choice.
Beautiful. I love that flexibility and that there's so much room for guidance there so people can follow their intuition and see what feels really good. For people who are new to IFS therapy, I know it's going to be different for everyone, but they're brand new. Do you suggest that they work with the modality for a certain period of time? Is one session enough? Is it more like a certain amount of weeks or months before they go into their ayahuasca ceremony?
Um, that's a good question. I feel that the more they have integrated the process within themselves, the more it will naturally unfold during ceremony. Because during ceremony, you don't want to come to your mind and start trying to start doing IFS. You know,
Yeah.
that's not
Am I doing it right? Where's my manager? Is this my getting caught up in all those little thoughts? Yeah.
exactly. So the ceremony, I see it as a way of like just letting go, right? So if you could have like 2 to 3 preparation sessions, 3 to 5 integration sessions with IFS, you don't really need to know IFS yourself if you're being guided by a practitioner or a therapist that has a relationship with a medicine and knows how to prepare and integrate. It can be perfect.
Beautiful. I love that. I was also intuitively, I just the number 3 popped up just for someone who knows the modality of IFS. And you know, I it's interesting. It's an interesting process. If you haven't been through it, you won't really know what to expect. You know, you got to kind of just see it unfold. But that surrender and that receptivity, it will happen when you're with a trusted practitioner, when you're in a solid container, when you know that you're safe enough to do this, you know, block out the time and all of that. It will unfold. And, you know, I feel like three, it's not that you'll feel like an expert. It's not that you'll know the modality. I think it's just comfortability and feeling safe. And then, you know, at that point, you just let your soul do the rest. Let the medicine take your soul on a journey once you're in that ceremony. So that's so beautiful. Um, what are some other pieces of wisdom? I can't believe our time is flying by. I knew that would because, you know, IFS is such a passion of mine. But what are some other things, other pieces of wisdom that you want to mention, either about the medicine or about the modality IFS?
In regards to like there's a lot I can feel the medicine, you know, it's like me. um and there's different things coming through. Like the first one is know that becoming aware of this medicine being in your field. I do believe that this medicine chooses us, right? So if you've been hearing a lot about ayahuasca, if you've been curious, if it pops up in random places, um, this can signal that the medicine is in your field, that it's calling you, right? And often it's not that we need to answer the call straight away. It's a matter of when, not a matter of if. And I feel this takes me to the second thing that's coming up very strongly. I feel that a lot of people fear this medicine, and for really good reasons, right? It's very powerful. I remember the first time I took this medicine, I was very experienced in other medicines, and I was like, this is no joke. I understand now why they call her the mother of all medicines, you know? But know that there are places in which it can be done in a gentle way. There's places that it can be done slowly, and that it doesn't need to be this overwhelming experience.
That's so important to know, because some people, there's a lot of hype around the medicine right now. A lot more in the last 5 years than there was prior. And yes, there's some fear, and discernment and awareness and caution is those are energies that we should always participate in. You just have to you have to follow your intuition on when to release the concern. Like look at the discernment, decide what's right for you. All awarenesses start with fear, but they don't need to continue with fear. As long as you're aware of, you know, even something as simple as, I don't need 3 cups of medicine right now. That's a powerful awareness, and you don't have to fear 3 cups of medicine. But if you just have the awareness, like, I'm good with 1 right now, or even before, if you're not in the moment, prior to, just kind of understanding, like, I'm going to check in with myself. I'm going to see where I'm at, regardless of what's going on around me or what's being offered or my friend or whoever, right? So I love that around just discernment. That's what I heard in what you said. And there was something else that you said as well. Oh, the intensity. Like, not every experience. And for a while, I feel like that was also like, there was like this competition on social media, like, who had the most intense ayahuasca experience? It's like, yes, that intensity, it tells a story, and it could tell a story of transformation sometimes, but there's so much transformation that happens without that intensity. So thank you for mentioning that. What are some steps that someone can do to prepare for a combination journey, right? Like, let's just say they're gonna this episode has really spoken to them. They were guided to this episode. They were already thinking about doing ayahuasca, or maybe they were already thinking about doing IFS, and now this has inspired them to combine those journeys together. What are some things that they can do to prepare?
What I like to always offer to people is like a daily ritual or a daily practice. And this can be as simple as tuning into your breath, not necessarily breath work, simple prana exercises, tuning into your body, doing some body scannings, connecting with nature. So all of this that brings the attention to yourself, the connection to spirit through nature, and also it's about how do you train yourself to notice the subtleties within you, within your breath, within your body. Because the medicine or your parts, both, are gonna speak through all these subtleties. So the more sensitive you can become to that, the more open you will be to both the combination or separate. And then the more awareness you'll bring to your day to day.
That's so beautiful. And those are powerful recommendations. Does someone need to know, quote unquote, I don't like when people say this, but I'm gonna say it because we all know what it means. Does someone need to know what they need to work on? Is that part of the prep?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
As I said before, it can be a calling and you might not know why, but you feel the call. And I do trust that once you get into the process of preparation, things will unfold naturally, right? It's like someone coming to an IFS session and be like, oh, I don't have anything to work on today. I was like, no, we don't need to. We're just gonna, as I said, we're gonna tune to your breath, to your body, and see what's there that's waiting for you to attend to it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And again, any last words on like the gift of transformation when it comes to these two wisdom medicines, you know, whether it's compassion or empowerment or self-led, or is there any closing reflections on that that you want to mention?
Yeah, you know, my biggest piece has been around self-love and how it's connected to discernment, right? I used to be married and I was not very happily married, but the medicine kept showing me visions of the future, of having a family, of kids, of how happy we would be until I decided I had enough, you know? And after that, I find that a part of me was very angry with the medicine. Like, why did you show me all these visions? Why you kept telling me about all the love that I feel for him, all the love that he feels for me? And her answer, I feel it's the essence of all her teachings. I needed to make sure you would choose yourself first, no matter what I showed you.
Wow, that is powerful. That is very powerful. And it brings you back to self-love and developing that. We all have it within us. I think it's just accessing it, dusting it off, bringing it up from the depths of the ocean of our hearts, so to speak.
Yeah, not even giving the power to the medicine to decide that what that looks like for you, you know, like that
Right.
was
Very important part. Very important thing to highlight. Thank you for that. So yeah, I can't believe our time has flown by so far. Do you have a book recommendation or a powerful quote that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, if anyone is curious about IFS, I would like to recommend a book that is called Self Therapy by Jay Early. I believe that IFS, as much as it is therapy, that it works really well with people that have trauma backgrounds, it can also be a powerful tool for a mindfulness practice. And this book will really guide you through the process. And there's a workbook that goes with it. And it's the book that I started with. And I find is one of the most powerful IFS books.
Thank you for that. So beautiful. So if this conversation has resonated with you, chances are you were guided to listen to this today. And please connect with Blanca. We have all of her information, her websites, her Instagram, and her YouTube here in the description. And I'll just shout out verbally one of her websites. It's Aya, AYA fes.com. And then she has another website. Again, it's all here in the description. You just click on it, it'll take you right there. It's ifsandpsychedelics.com. And Blanca, what is one powerful way that people can work with you?
So the second website that you mentioned, it's a very powerful way to start dipping your toes. That's a link to a podcast where I talk a lot about IFS and psychedelics, this combination. And then I'm also holding circles each month that are around the topic of IFS and psychedelics. And those are for free. It's about building community, people that are curious, people that are preparing, people that are integrating. Those can be beautiful ways. And other than that, one-on-one sessions, the retreat that I've mentioned, and they can find all of that on the website.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Blanca, for your wisdom, your time, and your energy on today's show. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Please share this episode with just one person. It could be your neighbor, your friend. I'm sure that person has already come into your awareness throughout the time that you've been listening to this episode. So just copy and paste the link, shoot this over to them. That way they could follow their guidance and the universe can guide them in whichever direction is right for them. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Namaste and have a great day.